We continue with the law of sin and death, part 3. So we must understand that the reason why we are having so many problems with people being deceived with that the law has been done away with is because people take scripture out of context. And then they build their doctrines from there, and they don't read entire chapters. And then it's our Bible translations that also give us the problem. But we are going to read from Hebrews chapter 8, from verse 6, to get the understanding. But now he has obtained a more excellent servant, inasmuch as he is also mediator of a better covenant, which was constituted on better promises. So all of this with the Torah and the law is all about understanding covenant. Father wanted to be able to put his covenant. He made covenant with them on Mount Sinai. It's all about covenant. When David stood before Goliath, he knew the covenant that he had with his father. So it's about a covenant, and that covenant was supposed to have been written on the tablets of their hearts by his Spirit, not on tablets of stone. For if the first covenant had been faultless, then no place would have been sought for a second. For finding fault with them, Abba found fault with the children of Israel. He did not find fault with his Torah. We need to understand this. He says, see, the days are coming, says Yahuwah, when I shall conclude the house of Israel with the house of Judah a renewed covenant, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Mitzrayim, because they did not continue in my covenant, and I disregarded them, says Yahuwah. Because this is the covenant that I shall make with the house of Israel after those days, says Yahuwah, giving my laws in their mind, and shall write them on their hearts, and I shall be their Yahuwah, and they shall be my people. This is the law of the Spirit. And they shall by no means teach each one his neighbor and each one his brother, saying, know Yahuwah, because they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, because I shall forgive their unrighteousness and their sins, their lawlessness, their Torahlessness, and their lawlessness I shall no longer remember. And this is from Jeremiah 31 verses 31 to 34. So we see he's the one who's going to now, by his Spirit, put these laws on the tablets of our hearts so that we will no longer transgress. So let's go see. In Ezekiel, so if we go to Ezekiel chapter 11 and we read from verses 19, and I shall give them one heart and put a new spirit within them, and I shall take the stony heart out of them, out of their flesh, and give them a heart of flesh. So he's going to give us his Ruach HaKodesh to do what? So that they walk in my laws and guard my right rulings and shall do them. And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Yahuwah. So there we go. He's going to put his Spirit in us so that we walk out his laws. But for those whose hearts walk after the heart of their disgusting matters and their abominations, this is the law of the flesh that's going to bring death. I shall recompense their deeds on their heads, declares the Master Yahuwah. So then, if we go back and we now go and continue to read in Hebrews chapter 9, let us see what he came to do away with. But Messiah, having become a high priest of the coming good matters, so we're reading from Hebrews 9:11. But Messiah, having become a high priest of the coming good matters, through the greater and more perfect tent, not made with hands, that is not of this creation, entered into the most set apart place once and for all, not with the blood of goats and calves, but with his own blood, having obtained an everlasting redemption. So it's everlasting because it's not the blood of bulls and goats that only covered sin. For if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the defiled, sets apart for cleansing of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of the Messiah, who through the everlasting Spirit offered himself unblemished, he became the unblemished perfect lamb, to Yahuwah, cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve the living Yahuwah. And because of this, He is the mediator of a renewed covenant, because this is where the renewed covenant is. His blood came and set us free once and for all, not the blood of bulls and goats. So that sacrificial system was done away with by the blood of Yahushua. Under the first covenant, those who are called might receive the promise of the everlasting inheritance. So if we look now at Hebrews chapter 10 from verse 26. So Hebrews chapter 10 verse 26. For if we sin purposely after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a slaughter offering for sins, but some fearsome anticipation of judgment and a fierce fire which is about to consume the opponents. So we've got to understand, if we sin, if we transgress the Torah, once we have received the knowledge of the truth, there's going to be a fearsome fire that's going to come. Anyone who disregarded the Torah of Moshe dies without compassion on the witness of 2 or 3 witnesses. So there they die. But how much worse punishment do you think shall he deserve, who has trampled the son of Yahuwah underfoot, counted the blood of the covenant by which he was set apart as common, and insulted the spirit of favor? So we insult the spirit of grace. Grace is there so that we now can keep his covenant, or else we trample the blood underfoot to say it was of no use. For we know him who has said, vengeance is mine, I shall repay, says Yahuwah. And again, Yahuwah shall judge his people. It is a fearsome to fall into the hands of a living Yahuwah. So let us go now to Isaiah chapter 24, where we hear the conclusion of the matter. See, verse 1, see, Yahuwah is making the earth empty and making it waste, and shall overturn its surface, and shall scatter abroad its inhabitants. Verse 3, the earth is completely emptied and utterly plundered, for Yahuwah has spoken this word. The earth shall mourn and wither, the world shall languish and wither, the haughty people of the earth shall languish, for the earth has been defiled under its inhabitants, because they have transgressed the Torah, changed the law, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, a curse shall consume the earth, and those who dwell in it be punished. Therefore, the inhabitants of the earth shall be burnt, and few men shall be left. So here we have the conclusion of all, beloveds. This is the end of days. The Father is bringing judgment upon the people of the earth because they have transgressed his Torah. They have broken his law, and they have broken his everlasting covenant. And that is why only few will be left, because people do not want to come back to his way, because we listen to the lawless doctrines of demons that tells us that we can be lawless and break his laws, and there's no problem with that. So, beloveds, we need to come back to the truth of his word. Shalom, shalom.